It was supposed to be an ordinary moment, brief, harmless, and quickly forgotten. A simple hug between two people who knew each other in passing. No arguments, no raised voices, no warning signs that this small gesture would ignite a chain of events ending in bloodshed. But by the end of that day, a woman who had plans, dreams, and people who loved her was gone, killed because someone else decided that an innocent hug was unforgivable. She was known by friends as warm and approachable, the kind of person who greeted people with smiles and kindness. In her community, she had built a reputation as someone who worked hard and tried to live peacefully. She was not reckless. She was not confrontational. She was simply living her life. That day began like any other. She went about her routine, unaware that she was being watched not with love, but with suspicion. Her partner, someone who claimed to care for her, had been struggling with jealousy for a long time. Friends later said his possessiveness was subtle at first. Questions about where she went, who she talked to, why she took so long to respond to messages. Nothing that screamed danger, nothing that made people step in. Just enough control to feel uncomfortable, but not enough to spark alarm. As the day went on, she crossed paths with a man she knew, an acquaintance, a friend of a friend. Their interaction lasted only seconds. They spoke briefly, exchanged a few words, and when they parted, they shared a quick hug. It was casual. It was public. It meant nothing more than friendliness. But someone else saw it. From a distance, her partner watched the interaction unfold. In his mind, the harmless moment twisted into betrayal. The hug became proof of disrespect. The smile became humiliation. Reason collapsed under the weight of jealousy and insecurity. Instead of asking questions, instead of walking away, he let anger take control. Witnesses later described a noticeable shift in his demeanor. His body language stiffened. His face darkened. He became quiet, retreating into himself, replaying the moment over and over in his mind. Each replay fueled his rage. To him, the hug wasn't innocent. It was a challenge to his authority, a blow to his ego. She had no idea. Later that day, the two crossed paths again. What followed was not a calm conversation, but an explosion of accusations. He confronted her, his voice sharp, demanding explanations she didn't understand she owed. She tried to calm him down. She explained. She reminded him that nothing inappropriate had happened. It was just a hug. But jealousy does not listen to logic. Witnesses nearby reported hearing raised voices. Some said she looked confused, even scared, as the argument escalated. She never raised her voice. She never tried to run. She believed, perhaps, that the man she knew would not truly harm her. She was wrong. In a moment that would shatter multiple lives, he reached for a weapon. The decision took seconds. There was no struggle for control, no warning shot, just a deliberate act driven by unchecked rage. When the gun fired, the sound echoed louder than the argument that preceded it. She collapsed. People screamed. Some froze in disbelief. Others ran for help. Blood pooled on the ground as the reality set in. This was no longer an argument, no longer a misunderstanding. This was murder. Emergency services arrived quickly, but it was already too late. She had been shot in cold blood, her life stolen over something that never should have mattered. Paramedics worked desperately, but the wound was fatal. She was pronounced dead at the scene. As police secured the area, the shooter was taken into custody. Witnesses pointed him out without hesitation. There was no confusion about what had happened or who was responsible. In his statements to authorities, he reportedly justified his actions by referencing the hug. To him, it was evidence of betrayal. To everyone else, it was proof of how deadly jealousy can become. News of her death spread rapidly through the community. Friends struggled to understand how such a small moment could lead to such irreversible consequences. Family members were left asking the same question over and over. Why? They remembered her laughter, her generosity, her plans for the future. They remembered the phone calls she never missed, and the birthdays she never forgot. Now all of that was gone, erased by a single decision fueled by insecurity and control. As investigators dug deeper, a troubling pattern emerged. While there were no official reports of abuse, friends admitted they had noticed signs of possessiveness. The constant checking, the need to know where she was at all times, the jealousy over ordinary interactions. All the warning signs were there, hiding in plain sight. In court, the case painted a stark picture. Prosecutors described the killing as intentional and unjustified, emphasizing that no amount of jealousy could excuse taking a life. The defense attempted to frame the act as one of emotional distress, but the evidence told a different story. This was not a moment of confusion. It was a conscious choice. The verdict brought a measure of justice, but not peace. Her family now lives with an absence that can never be filled. Holidays are quieter. Conversations feel incomplete. There is an empty space where she should be. A reminder of how quickly life can be taken when control replaces love. Her story serves as a chilling warning. Violence does not always begin with fists or weapons. Sometimes it begins with jealousy disguised as affection, control disguised as concern, and rage disguised as passion. When these traits are ignored or normalized, the consequences can be deadly. An innocent hug should never cost someone their life. Yet in this case, it did. And that is the tragedy that lingers, long after the headlines fade and the courtroom empties.